I mean, over time, if you keep undercutting yourself and just being like, okay, I'll do it, and I'll do it for whatever little amount, you have to start setting a line, or else people take advantage of you. And I think that's what you're saying.
And then that can run into burnout. That's kind of what was. I was working on a project while I was in college, and it was my fault because I was undercutting myself. The person that I was working with asked me what my rate would be for the album, and I was thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I think I could do it for this. And then we got like halfway through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like way in over my head. And so I actually ended up renegotiating with him and asking for double the amount. And luckily he was okay to do that. But it's
not everyone will be.
Yeah, not everyone's going to be like, hey, sure, I understand. A lot of people will just be like, nope, that's the deal you gave me. Sorry.
Yeah, I think everybody has stories like that where they, when they're starting out, especially the package deal sort of things.
Oh yeah.
And that's a whole nother discussion, is package versus hourly. But even when I was in grad school, my professor there had this story about he was getting into doing sound for film and television, and he had this opportunity pop up. He hadn't really done any post-production sound like that. And they're just like, okay, well, this is our project, and can you help us with that? And he's like, sure, I can help you with that. And they're like, well, we need an amount figured out. So he kind of did some numbers crunching real quick and gave them the amount. And then he practically lost money on the gig because it was way more time than he thought, but it still got his foot in the door, And so the next time he was able to say, he wasn't able to renegotiate that, but the next time he was able to charge, an
appropriate
rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bring this up. Me and my wife talk about it because she teaches lessons. And when it comes to negotiating those prices and not undercutting yourself, you have to realize that, one, if you undercut yourself, you can't continue to do business. That's the point of it. Likewise, if you undercut yourself, you're also undercutting all the other engineers out there working, because let's say you get it done for that cheaper price and that person says, oh, okay. And they come back to you again, or they go to some other engineer and they're like, well, this guy did it and he did just, they're going to, now it's a little different out in the, it's a little different out there in some instances, because sometimes you'll have people who have that kind of expectation, like, well, he did it for this much. Why can't you do it for that much? You must not be as good of an engineer. You'll have those kinds of people. Generally, those guys are just dumb and not worth your time. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm definitely guilty of quoting exorbitant prices so that I don't have to do the gig, or if I'm going to do the gig, I don't care. I'm getting financially compensated well enough that I don't care how bad the gig is.
As I was starting out, I was watching a bunch of webinars and YouTube videos on people that already had decently successful businesses, and they were talking about their business and how they grew it to something where they could do it full time. And one of the guys talked about it. He I'm not going to say it, but he calls it the a-hole fee, where he will if he doesn't want to work with somebody, but this person's really wants to work with him, if he knows they're going to be a pain in the butt to work with, he will give them add on an extra fee to make it so they won't work with him. And if they do work with him, he's like, well,
he's getting paid extra.
They're paying me the extra fee, so I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's difficult because you realize, here's another thing too. So this whole undercutting thing and what we've been kind of talking about with this, we talk about undercutting on time and money, but realistically, you're undercutting on your life, because you're not really fairly being compensated for the work and the time that you're spending doing this, which you think, oh, well, I'm okay giving up that much time. Yeah, that's fine for now and maybe for the next 3 to 6 months. But what about a year from now? What about 5 years? What about 10 years from now? You keep doing that, and there is no future that you have because you're dedicating too much. You're giving too much to this career, into this industry. And that's different for every person, for sure. But you have to remember that those things really do come out to hurt you in the long run.